Hi there, here we are again, Ron Carty, Hotel Barracuda. It's Tuesday morning, Expat Club, and as always I'm with one of our speakers, Dave Kennedy. Dave, would you like to say hello?
Hi, I'm Davie Kennedy. I'm a retired doctor, now just enjoying life here in Thailand.
With his friend, partner, associate Joe Cheser, who's not with us on this interview, but between the pair of them, they ran an Ask Us Anything session, which was very, very interesting. Why did you choose that?
Ask us anything medical.
Yeah, I'm glad you said.
We weren't going to talk about the stock market or anything, but it was a way to give people an opportunity to ask questions that they might feel were not something they wanted to ask a GP in the GP room, or they didn't think of, or they'd been thinking about, or something to do with their medical care or anything.
Yeah, no, really.
But the idea is that, we all have questions, and I realised when I gave another talk recently that we're just all so vulnerable, particularly the less we know about health and medicine and what medicine can and can't do, the more vulnerable we are here, particularly in a country where English isn't the first language.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I'm very intrigued. You had a lot of it, but you actually started off with a thing saying that there's no such thing as a stupid question.
That's right. Well, I think because we've all got questions, and you know my experience. So my first degree was mechanical engineering, and then I went back and did philosophy, psychology, and then I did a medical degree, and then I did some sort of legal masters of medicine and other stuff. But in my experience, the people who asked the questions that might have seemed stupid were often the ones who did the best, and they were often the most intelligent. And the thing is, just because a question seems stupid for one of us doesn't mean that it's not going to help a lot of people. And I'm sure it's like the iceberg principle that sometimes, you know, if there's a bit of a question, there's probably a lot of other people who've been thinking about something along the same lines.
Well, I've got, especially on a group such as ours, a lot of people have got things to ask, but they don't want to look stupid.
That's right.
So that was an excellent way to start. And then you went on to your own medical school bacteria and introduction to, or you spoke about gut microbiome.
Yes. Somebody asked about fecal transplants and fecal implants, and we talked about that. And yeah, that's such an interesting area as well. And this was for a friend with an idea that it might help them with weight loss. And so, you know, neither Joe nor I were experts in that, but we talked around the general concept for people. So perhaps, hopefully, people understand a bit more about it now.
Hopefully, it was good. But you clarified that you're not professionals. This was not professional advice. You were just giving people
education. Yeah, helping people understand stuff that a bit more. Yeah.
And it's funny then, a lot of it focused on weight loss.
Yes, we talked about weight loss and different strategies for weight loss, like fasting and the new medicines like Ozempic and that kind of thing, and other ways for weight loss, and free will. We talked about that, like how much free will do we really have? And the latest neuroscience suggests that we don't really have the ability to control our decisions as well as we would hope. So therefore, people who are overweight, often they just cannot. They don't have the willpower, and that's not their fault. It's because we don't really have free will. So people who get overweight, it's not like, if you blame them, it's like blaming the victim. It's a terrible thing to do.
Well, it's not a matter of blaming. It's just pointing out that everybody's responsible for themselves.
We are responsible for ourselves. And yes, in the same way that we're responsible to try and do our best to keep ourselves healthy and
I mean, now we're on
living well.
It's true, but as long as you've got a strong reason up here, then you can actually do things such as lose weight or stop smoking or stop an addiction. If you haven't got the right reason up here, then it's a struggle.
That's right. If you're really motivated, like in some wise, Eastern philosophers say that, that the teacher doesn't really teach. They can only prepare the fertile mind of the student to move on to a new area that they're ready to move on for. And so,
a lot of people just haven't got the right reason. What happens in a lot of cases in terms of medical, they have a severe problem, then all of a sudden they've got the reason to lose weight. But until you've got that big problem, I remember my mother smoked for, we were always on there, and then she had an embolism in her eye, overnight stop smoking.
Yeah, yep, that's it. And that was a shock. It was a shock. And then people put down the cigarettes after that if they...
It's true.
Terrible things. Cigarette smoking can cause strokes, and that's like a mini stroke in the eye that she had. And yeah, that's enough to stop a lot of people smoking.
It's true. But a lot of people wait for this shock rather than trying to establish something. But anyway,
it's natural because then until then it's very hard to get the activation energy, the motivation to start.
I agree. Anyway, then he went on to blood tests. Is that right?
Yes, we talked a little bit about. A few people asked about different blood tests and what was in them and what wasn't.
Yeah.
And why certain things weren't in blood tests, like vitamin D and vitamin K, and we talked about that and diet a bit as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I liked about it, there's one gentleman stood up and he says, what does the K2 vitamin stand for? And I think that's a question that a lot of people would ask. But it was clarified that it's really just alphabetical, is that right?
Yeah. Well, the vitamins are all things that we need to help us live that we don't make in our body. They're things that we can only get from diet. So vital amine. So, yes. So, this is something, all those things like that are important. But how much does an individual person need? Well, that's the jury's out, and Joe and I disagree about some of those things, and that's fine. But I claim no expertise, and he's a very thorough scientist, proper scientist, and he's done a master's in science, and he researches stuff very thoroughly. So,
the
take my hat off.
The pair of you worked off well.
Yeah, Joe's fabulous with his detailed knowledge.
I apologize that he's not with us, but I've only got 2 chairs.
Well, Joe could sit on your knee.
So look, we don't have a lot of time. What would you like to say to everybody that's watching, and or just reinforce for our expat community with regard to health in general? Really, something that's important. You believe is important.
Well, I think the most important thing is that we're all, like you said, we're all responsible for ourselves, whether or not we realise it, and we just hopefully can keep an open mind about things, and that you really need to develop a good relationship with a doctor that you can trust.
That's the one.
An active doctor here who's registered with the Thai Medical Board, who you can discuss things like your questions about certain things with in an open-minded way. And that's the most important thing. And yes, you can go and get tests when you go back to your home country, and it's really good to have a list of questions and tests, but it's really good if you have a doctor here that they know all about that as well, so they don't feel like they're just the handmaid for a foreign doctor. Anyway, look, it's I'd say the main thing is that if you've got questions about something, men leave it too late often, and particularly with heart type things, it's just such a worry. All of us guys here in Putty are such a worry, and so the main thing is to just don't be an idiot and see a doctor, particularly if you've got a question. There aren't. If your doctor says that you're asking a stupid question, then you need to change your doctor.
Change your doctor, okay.
That's it.
And then other couple of things, can I suggest diet is important, to look at your diet?
That's right. Yep.
Without going crazy. And you know what else I'm going to say? A little bit of exercise, because I head up the Warriors, the Age of this Warriors, and I've got to say, myself and this fella here, we are in competition.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the thing is that I'm hoping that I can become as competitive as Ron by the time I get to 120 like him.
Look at that, what a dig. Now I'm going to stop. Now listen, first off, there's your certificate.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm honoured. I'm honoured to have a chance to help, and I hope we help somebody.
Oh, wonderful.
And the same for Joe. I'm sure Joe as well. Joe would be very honoured, and Joe is just fabulous that we could do this together, and he's so knowledgeable, and we're so lucky to have had Joe as the Brains Trust for detailed scientific knowledge for this.
Fantastic. Anyway, listen, really great, and we'll get you both back again. So look,
you're welcome.
That's it again. Expat Club every Tuesday. Come along. We have tremendous information, speakers, good camaraderie, good food, good breakfast, healthy breakfast, and it's worth coming. So see you next Tuesday.
Community is very important.
Yes.
All right.
And exercise and competition.
And exercise, that's right.
I'm going.